Now, it's not done yet, but I kind of like it, how it's starting to look. Okay, now we have this one here, one more. Okay, so I'm coming in here with a smaller, it's a smaller area, so I'm coming with a smaller brush. And it's got a little red there in the, on that side. That's probably why it's not painted, because I thought maybe I'll do that later when I have the red. So here's the red in the edge. And that looks lovely. That yellowish warm color next to that beautiful blue. Here's our cools and warms. Okay, now what I think, now we're going to tackle this, a little bit of this in here. That's like some stems and some leaves coming. Let's see if we can do some more background in there. So I'm going to come in with a corner brush, which is a little flattish brush like this. It's got a little bit of a chiseled, it's square and it's chiseled at the edge. Let's see if you can see it. Okay, so I'm going to load that up with some raw umber and some ultramarine blue. Then I'm going to do my little mixture here, which is almost black. And I'm going to see, like right here where that little, I don't know what, that looks like a butterfly, but I'm sure it's not. Okay, I'm going to come in here and they're kind of overlapping. This leaf is this one here. So there's this edge. See, this is what my, like that. Then the dark negative space continues in here into here. Now that by surrounding that with that negative dark value, that negative space, it's really bringing this into focus, this little leaf right here. Okay, now you can come in here behind and surround it even more. A little white canvas still peeking out. Okay, and so I think this is a little more shallow. It's a little shallow, so I'm chiseling some of that edge. Okay, that's better. It's a little bit. See, as you go further back, they're not as circular. They are all more like ovals, shallow ovals. In the front, there's more round. So that has to do with the perspective. So keeping that in mind, we needed to make this one a little more of a shadow, of a shallow oval. Okay, now we separate it right there. Now we're going to come in here and start doing the negative space for that other leaf right there. And then there's alright, so over here we're going to continue with this I'm going to be turning this upside down because, well, in this case, actually, it's going to be right side up. I think it'll be easier to do. Okay, so we still need quite a bit to work, but before I stop the video, I want to show you how to mix this koi fish. He looks a little bit, I think it's almost like a silver color to it. And so you're gonna make a mix your raw umber, ultramarine blue. It's amazing how many times you will be using that combination. It really is one of the combinations of paints that you will be coming back to over and over again. Okay, so we have like a little bit of, let me get my white, I ran out of white. I want it to look a little silvery and a little bit of, it's got some reddish color in there also. But actually, it's amazing. You can almost see the scales on it, but we're gonna make ours a little bit kind of not so obvious because it is underwater. So we don't want to make it a solid, like a solid gray. We don't want it to look like a block of cement. It's got different colors, and it's going to have a highlight on the upper part, which is going to be lighter. Then always have your paper napkin so that when your little brush or medium brush, whatever, it starts getting lumpy or clumpy at the edge, then you can right away take the excess off and start working with some color. I love painting koi. There's so many, you know, there's just so many colors. They're very, very beautiful. And this one happens to have his mouth open. And it's kind of turned a little bit to the side, so we don't get to see both of his eyes complete. Now you can work your own koi that you do. You can make it whatever color you want. I think this is a good combination, but I would like to, I think if you use like some orangey and black, that's also would work. Now the edges can be kind of a blue. You do not want this to be a sharp edge, okay? I'm going to keep the edges blurred because of the water, ripples in the water, and also because it's underneath the water. So, sorry about that, the dogs, my little chihuahuas. See, now the tail here is just going to disappear into the background. And my strokes are kind of horizontal, like this, because of the water ripples. So it's dimensional. So it also would have some shadows on the one side. Pick up some more blue. Now this one here, that's my other one. Okay, so the other thing, there's still some white there, which I don't want to end this without you seeing that flower. And so with some of my red, I'm coming in here, it's starting to drag, which tells me that I need a little more liquid in my brush. If you start fighting your paint, then you need to add some color to it. Now this flower has a reflection into the water, so it's almost like you're doing two flowers, one on the side underneath. Now there's another one going up. So this would be the water line right here. So, because it's like a white, so I'm putting a little bit of lighter pink for the inside. I had consider doing more flowers, but I think that I'm not going to do that. I think just that one is good because we do have a couple koi fish here, and I think that's enough. But if you want to, you're welcome to try it and see if you like it. If you want to do more flowers, that's a good option also. But I think I'm just going to go with the koi, 2 koi fish, and this flower. Now, some of these petals that are the shadow are quite a bit darker. The one here in the middle, the one on the side, because it's a cast shadow. So remember that cast shadows are the darkest shadows that there is. So at the base where the water line is, that is also going to be very dark. And you know, like when we do a vase or a picture, whatever it is that we're painting, we do a little pit shadow right underneath, very thin and very dark. So that's what I just did right there. So I immediately go into my cleaner, come in here, take the excess off. So now I have a nice clean brush, and I pivot my little finger up in here, and I am going to push that into the background. And now I can come in with my highlights. All the way to the bottom. Okay, so there it is. We may visit that later, but for now, I'm going to call it quits, and I will be working just the same way that I was doing, but I'm going to do a little more. There's some leaves here. Okay, for example, this leaf, I would come and I'm going to show you how to do at least one before I leave. I want to show you. There's a very wide leaf up there. So I'm coming in here with your negative space, and you bring it out by doing that, by surrounding it. Okay, there it is, see? And we can even do that little stem right here with the negative space, see? And that's how you go about doing this. It's not, it seems hard and complicated and overwhelming maybe, but it isn't. You just put your color in there and come in here and break it up with long strokes. Remember, you don't have to get it exactly because we are painting it. It's a painting. It's not, we're not cameras. So our impression. It's a kind of a painting that you want to do in one day, maybe two. And so that's the process. That's the way you do that. And then you would continue that in here in the same way with the stems. Now I do add a little bit of a yellow ochre to my cadmium yellow light and a tiny bit of white, so that when I paint this stems, so that you can see them. See, you can actually see the stems. Some of them have a little more red in them than others, but all right. So when you're doing this, you want to use two brushes, one to get your light, and every once in a while you're gonna want to get your dark. You want to say like, oh, that's too close, I need a little darker. See? So then you bring it out by going into the negative space. Now you can bring that lighter stem to show up more because of the contrast that we're looking at. All right. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.